Year 1, and welcome to your second science lesson this week. I hope you enjoy learning all about herbivores and the different types of food that a herbivore eats. Now today, we are going to learn the next two vocab words. So our objective is, can I describe the features of animals that are carnivores or herbivores? Now if you would like, you can go on to BBC Bite Size, and there is a short video that tells you all about the features of carnivores and omnivores if you'd like to watch that first. But if not, then don't worry, we will get on. So before we start, let's see if we can remember. An elephant eats grass. So an elephant is a herbivore. Well done. A rabbit eats vegetables and grass. So a rabbit is a herbivore. Great. So today we are going to look more at the word carnivore. Carnivore. Now, a carnivore is an animal that only eats meat. It doesn't eat any plants. So it doesn't eat leaves or trees or bushes or fruit, anything like that. It only eats meat. So we might say that a carnivore is a meat eater. So it is an animal that eats other animals. So let's find out some more about a carnivore. So what kinds of meat do animals eat? So here, I'll make this picture a bit bigger. We've got a picture of a fox. And if you can see, the fox has a rabbit in his mouth. So he eats rabbits. So a rabbit is meat. So a fox would be a carnivore because he eats rabbits. So he eats other animals. Let's have a look at a few other examples. So an animal that might eat eggs or steal eggs from a nest. Eggs would be considered meat. This toad is eating an insect. So a toad would eat meat because it's eating another animal. This bear is eating fish. So the bear would be a meat eater because it eats fish. It eats another animal. And then you have other types of fish like piranhas who eat other fish. So it would also be a meat eater. Birds eat worms. So worms would be considered a meat. And here we have some lions eating some flesh off bone. So he might have eaten a zebra or a gazelle, another type of animal. So a lion would eat meat. Here we have an owl and he's caught a mouse. So the mouse is another animal, so he would eat the mouse, so he would be a meat eater. And then insects. So lots of animals eat insects. So insects are considered meat. Now, a lion eats meat. So it is a carnivore. It doesn't eat any other plants. It doesn't eat leaves or grass, but it only eats meat. So an animal that only eats meat is a carnivore. So an animal that only eats other animals is a carnivore. So a shark, he likes to eat other sharks. He likes to eat fish. So he would be a carnivore. So he eats other animals. A chameleon eats insects. It uses its long sticky tongue to catch insects. So it might catch butterflies or flies or beetles, so grasshoppers. So a chameleon is a carnivore because it only eats other animals. So a carnivore is an animal that only eats other animals, is only a meat eater. But we have this other word, omnivore. Omnivore. Now an omnivore is an animal that eats both. So it eats meat, but it also eats plants. So here are three examples. So I have a hedgehog. So it eats beetles and worms and slugs. So those are all other animals, but it also eats fruit and berries. So a hedgehog is an omnivore. A pig eats leaves, roots, grass. So that would be plants, but it also eats dried food from made from meat. So it is an omnivore because it eats both. And then a badger. So a badger eats worms, insects, and small animals. So a badger eats meat, but it also eats fruit and fungi. So it would be considered a omnivore because it also eats plants. So we have pigs, raccoons, a bear. So a bear loves eating fish, but it also likes to eat berries. So a bear would be an omnivore because it eats meat and plants. Now this human is an omnivore as well. So he might like to eat meat and plants. So he might like to eat hamburgers or chicken or steaks or other type of meat, but it also eats lettuce and apples and cucumbers. So it would be an omnivore. So we've got carnivore and omnivore. Those are our two words today. So for our activity, what I would like you to do is get a piece of paper and a pencil. You can pause the video if you need, and set up your paper so you've got 3 columns. You've got a herbivore, carnivore, and omnivore. And once you've set that up, then you continue on with the video. And I'm going to show you a variety of animals. And what I would like you to do is read what each animal eats and put it into the right group. So once you've got that set up, then you can continue on. So here are the first 6 animals. So I'll read these ones to you, and then the other ones on the other pages you can read yourself. So if you'd like to pause the video, you can have a read and put them into the right group. So we've got a badger. So a badger eats worms, insects, small animals, fruit, and fungi. So it eats meat and vegetables and fruit, so it would be an omnivore. The blue tit, it eats caterpillars and seeds. So caterpillars are animals. So it eats animals and plants, so it would be an omnivore. What about a cheetah? It eats gazelles, zebras, hares, and birds. Now those are only animals. So a cheetah would be a carnivore because it only eats other animals. It only eats meat. Then we have a dog. So I eat food which has meat and plants in it. So a dog eats both, so it would be an omnivore. And a duck. I eat seeds, nuts, plants, small fish, and insects. So a duck eats seeds and nuts and plants, but it also eats fish and insects, which are animals. So it would eat both, so it's an omnivore. And then we have horse. I eat grass, so it would be a herbivore. So you can pause the video anytime, copy down the animals into the right category. So I'm going to move on to the next slide. So here we have hedgehog, an owl, a pig, a squirrel, a snail, and vulture. So you can pause the video, read what each animal eats, and decide, is it a herbivore, an omnivore, or a carnivore? And once you've written those 6 animals down, then you can continue on with the next slide. Here we have a blue whale, a wasp, a polar bear, a cat, a lion, and a penguin. So pause the video, read what each animal eats, and put it into the right group. So we are sorting animals by the characteristics of what they like to eat. Now, when you have finished with this slide, I'm going to show you the answers. So don't go on to the next part of the video until you've finished. So here are the answers. So in herbivore, if you had horse, squirrel, and snail, well done. Pat on the back. Carnivore, we've got cheetah, owl, vulture, a blue whale, a polar bear, a cat, a lion, and a penguin. And then in the omnivores, we have a badger, a blue tit, a dog, a duck, a hedgehog, a pig, and a wasp. So let's have a think. Do you remember last video we talked about herbivores and that their teeth were straight across, they're very broad, and they use that to chew down on all the leaves and the fibrous parts of the plants. Let's have a look at the carnivores. So here we have a cheetah, a vulture, a polar bear, a lion. What do you know about those animals' teeth? Are they flat? No, they're pointy, and they're very sharp. So another animal that we know that's carnivore is a crocodile or a snake. Those animals have really sharp, pointy teeth. So we know that if it has sharp, pointy teeth, that it is a carnivore because it needs those sharp bits of their teeth to break apart the meat. And then an omnivore, we have a badger, the blue tit, the dog. So they would have a mix. So just like us humans, we have flat, broad teeth at the top, and we also have our canine teeth, which are pointy. So we have got a bit of both to help us. So those are all the answers for sorting the animals by herbivore, carnivore, and omnivore. So are there any animals that you were not sure of? Or what foods did you find interesting that the animals eat? Or were there any animals that surprised you that you thought, oh, I didn't realize that it ate that? So have a think about those questions and you can talk about them at home. Now let's do our final quiz. A zebra eats grass. So it is a herbivore. Well done. A horse eats grass. It is a herbivore. And we have a cheetah chasing, I think this would be a gazelle. It only eats meat. It is a, well done, it is a carnivore. So we have been looking at the 3 different types of animals, herbivore, carnivore, and omnivore. So think about, what group are you in? So some people are vegetarian, so they would be herbivores. Some people eat meat and plants, so they would be an omnivore. So when you are out and about, have a look at any animals that you see what they're, if you can see what they're eating, and think about, are they a herbivore, an omnivore, or a carnivore? So next week, when we are back in school, we will be sorting animals to the different foods that they eat and also sorting them by the 5 groups that we've been learning about. So I hope you've enjoyed learning all about the different features of animals, and upload your charts that you've made onto Tapestry, and we look forward to seeing them. Thank you.